The Mummy is a reboot of the original classic Universal monster films that included The Mummy from the 1930s.
From the 30s, and they're building a dark universe with.
Yeah,
the start of it's actually the rebirth, and they're actually building a dark universe.
Yeah, they're playing it's a reboot of the original classic horror icon of The Mummy. Now, a little backstory. Originally, back in 2014, we had a film that called Dracula Untold that came out that was supposed to be the start of a reboot of this shared universe that Universal Studios was going to plan out to do by bringing back the classic monsters from Universal or from the 30s or even back from the 30s and onward to bring them back into modern times. But but when that film came out, it didn't do too well like Universal had hoped. So now their plan was actually to go with this movie with The Mummy. And
ironically enough,
and so this one they actually are calling it now the Dark Universe. Yeah, and the film even
this starts out like where we're going to get a trend where we're supposed to get Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Invisible Man, Invisible Man, The Creature from the Black Lagoon. You get the classics if you remember watching them, Dracula from like the 20s, 30s, and 40s and stuff like that. So it's kind of pretty much this is supposed to start the whole entire universe, and they're all connected. Basically building their own Avengers.
Yeah, basically doing the same thing Marvel and DC is doing. Yep. And with this film, it stars Tom Cruise as a guy who is known for basically stealing artifacts
and selling them for
for black markets. And he comes across, him and his friend are going in Iraq, and they're coming across an ancient area where they discover that there's this tomb that's deep inside, and it calls the attention of a girl who's an archaeologist played by Annabelle Wells. Jenny, played by Annabelle Wells, to look into it, and they discover that there's an ancient history about this woman who was basically a cruel woman that wanted power and wanted to basically become like free, like have like
her dad was the Pharaoh, and it basically goes like this: the dad was the Pharaoh. He was going to give her the power, and he decided to have a child with somebody, and it ended up being a boy, and the boy in those times the man would become automatically the power, so she doesn't get the power. So she grew jealous over it, and she decided to study kind of like dark Egyptian magic, and it made her become really evil, and she killed the entire Pharaoh and the family. Her family, and then she got captured and got mummified.
And just a word of warning, this review may contain some spoilers for the film, so if we go into detail on this, we apologize for those of you who haven't seen it yet. If you want to watch another review that doesn't have spoilers, you can do that, or skip ahead throughout the video. But otherwise, this will contain some spoilers. So with this one, I've actually, when I first heard that this film was coming out, it got me kind of curious, because I am all for the idea of them doing a reboot of this shared universe that they're doing with everything, because I do want to see those classic monsters come back. But
because those are outdated, but they're still fun to watch. But I'm anxious to see that they want to connect them all. And it become this really dark world.
Well, because myself and a lot of those films that are from back in the day, they still hold up. And I'm all for the idea of them doing like a modern spin on it. So with this one, what got me really interested was how they were going to do this shared universe, so to speak. And from what I saw in the reviews with this movie,
I was actually really
shocked of how.
I'm not saying it was going to be high expectations, but I was blown away.
Keep in mind,
fuck up.
I don't always go into films based on what reviews always do, because there's a lot of films that I love that other people, on a critical standpoint, don't always agree with, and there's opposite where I don't agree with critics. So I don't base off reviews. I'm just saying like how this film, when it has come out over this weekend, it's gotten like a lot of fucking slack from a lot of people we've heard from, and I can see why, because believe it or not, this is actually, for a start of this universe, it's a pretty bad fucking start.
Really terrible start. So anyways, they go on, basically like he was saying, that they find the tomb of her, and basically, Tom Cruise gets cursed, because you kind of get that in the trailers, where he wakes up from the dead and stuff. So he's cursed, and basically the mummy is after him. The mummy is brought back, but because they woke her up, and basically, it builds up to where she's after them and looking for a medallion that goes to her sword, where she could, fully sacrifice and become forever, what she's trying to do. But then you kind of get, like, because it's building a dark universe, you do get Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in this, and
played by Russell Crowe.
And that was pretty much, everybody knows about that by now because they kind of spoiled that already. So it wasn't a hidden thing, which is a problem with fucking box office movies now. They fucking give you every answer before you go see the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
So everybody already was like, "Oh, it's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde." I'm like, that could have been a cool twist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on board for Russell Crowe playing this.
Yeah.
And because with this film, he's supposed to be, because we actually see Russell Crowe early in the movie where his team is actually sent in to capture. They're secure this pyramid, or I'm sorry, this area that the tomb is supposed to be at, that where the mummy is at.
He's basically he's sent all his soldiers out and his scientists out. They're looking for the girl while the other people find her and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're looking for this mummy because he's playing Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's pretty much going to be like the
Nick Fury,
where he's the one who's capturing all the monsters. And all that stuff. So.
Yeah, and he's going to basically appear in more movies.
Yeah.
So with this one, we see, like you see in the trailer, where Tom Cruise, after they end up capturing the what's it called, the coffin that the mummy is in. They bring it on the plane, like you see in the trailer, where the birds come in and the plane ends up crashing, and then Tom Cruise wakes up without a scratch, and we discover that he's pretty much cursed from the get-go.
Stuff. So yeah, like he said, this movie, I mean, I can't really judge Dracula Untold because I haven't really fully watched that, and I heard really 50-50 with the film, but I heard on a popcorn standpoint it was okay, and it's a good action star. And it's pretty sad because they got rid of that and they said, all right, now we're finally starting, and this movie was a fucking piece of shit. Like, it wasn't like epic piece of shit, but this movie was fucking trash. And if this is your start, man, it's not gonna fucking last long.
Yeah, man, it's one of those movies that from the get-go, it already has problems with the way that it's telling the story of how the mummy is her plan and everything.
Yeah.
And when we see that, when we discover that Tom Cruise's character is cursed, I have a problem with this because we're led to believe that he can't feel pain, especially when he crash lands and comes to life. But the whole movie, he's taking damage, and there's a lot of points where
he's trying to survive.
Yeah.
So why would you try to survive if you can't fucking die in the first place, you dumb fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it makes no fucking sense. And then you got the chick, you got his the archaeologist who's should be fucking getting a lot of scratches and a lot of fucking shit she goes through, man. I mean, she's flipping like her fucking vehicle like 30 times down a mountain and fucking. She ain't even hurt. And broken bones, nothing.
Yeah.
There's no scratch. And the movie is supposed to take a serious tone. It's not supposed to be a satire. If it's satire, I can get it's making fun of movies where movie stars,
Yeah.
Movie stars end up being, because it's a movie. They don't get hurt. But this movie isn't trying to, not to focus on that. So it kind of makes you kind of like, no, I can't buy that.
And not just that, but a lot of the problem I have with this movie as well is what threw me off was I didn't realize this was going to have fucking comedy parts in it.
And really bad comedy at that.
There's a lot of parts in this film where, now I blame this more on the script, more of anything. There's a lot of points where characters, including Cruise himself and his friend in the film, that's annoying as fuck, where they're bickering back and forth with each other, and they're talking about shit that's supposed to be funny, but it's in serious scenes that you're trying to get impact, like you're trying to feel for, but it just comes out of place. I'm like, what the fuck is the point?
It's really low budget comedy. Like, I had more fun with comedy in Baywatch than this.
Yeah, because this
I didn't even think this movie should have a bit of fucking comedy at all.
No, because
it shouldn't.
It should have kept itself more straightforward.
Yeah.
And because if anything, now I'm not trying to bring these up because I haven't really watched them in a while. this is the equivalent of rebooting more of the Brendan Fraser films than it is the original classic Mummy films.
This is my issue. This movie was getting, like, oh God, because of the opening cover, everybody's like, okay, that's rebooting Brendan Fraser's. It took the director and the people to come out and say, no, we're building our own universe. This has nothing to do with that. We are not even trying to even come close to attempting that. Bull fucking shit. 80% of this movie is the fucking exact same reboot, like if you was rebooting Brendan Fraser's Mummy, because it's got the two buddies who are fucking robbing. Brendan Fraser and his buddy were stealing and trying to sell black market. The girl is the archaeologist, so was that one. The mummy, the pharaoh kind of thing where you got the mummy getting mummified at the beginning and all that stuff. They do that. Instead of using cannibal beetles like Brendan Fraser's did, they use camel spiders and rats. And they do the whole where they cover your whole body up. The sucking the soul out of the person and he turns mummified. Brendan Fraser's. The mummies that are helping the main mummy, and then they breaking bones when you hit them. How are you going to go out there to the public and say, it has nothing to do, not even close? You're fucking rebooting. Carbon copied at that.
Yeah.
So,
now I get that they're trying to modernize more of it nowadays with the whole action trope that they're doing, where you're mixing action and horror. But the thing is, the fact that it's adding more comedy elements to it, that's a lot of what Brendan Fraser's did too. Because that film, both The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, did add a lot of comedy bits, but they didn't overdo it.
But Brendan Fraser's Mummy was meant to be popcorn fun, entertaining, and just a downright blast. It was not trying to be like, we're going to build this dark universe.
With this one, I don't know what they were trying to do. The movie can't decide whether it's trying to be a straight...
tone is fucking all over the place.
It can't decide whether it's trying to be a fun popcorn movie or if it's trying to be fucking serious.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be fucking fun popcorn movie because this is supposed to take it serious. They're building a dark universe out of this.
Yeah.
So, not only that, man... I didn't really see much. I will say, as far as a pro, I didn't see much, like the visuals. Like, I didn't see much CGI bitching as most people did. There was some, but a lot of people were saying everything was CGI. Yeah, I didn't see that.
I did have some problems with the CGI, mainly the plane sequence where the birds or the crows, I think, fly in.
Yeah,
and you see all that shit, and then you have like some of the later sequences where you see some of the mummies. Fighting and all that.
Yeah.
But
I liked Sophia. Playing the mummy. Like, her performance is good. The performances are good in this, except for Tom Cruise's fucking buddy. That dude was annoying the piss out of me.
Jake Johnson.
Yeah, and check this out. Who the fuck would thought that was a smart idea to make it look like American Werewolf in London, where your friend dies and then he's fucking narrating and telling you to do this and do that type shit, and he's slowly decaying as he goes? That was American Werewolf in Paris.
It's like or London. Well, it was also Paris
London,
as well.
London and Paris did
it.
Yeah, London and Paris did that.
Yeah, so
where you had the dead friend kind of like, hey, she's after you, buddy.
Wrong Universal movie.
Yeah. Man, this movie is like so unoriginal because it's literally, you can point out every scene for scene of a movie they are going to take it from a good movie, and then it's like they thought we weren't going to notice that, and they were just pretty much misconjointing it, trying to build... off of other people's scripts.
Yeah, not just that, but a lot of the action sequences are very forgettable at best. Like, they're mainly just, like, like, they don't offer really any substance, or they don't offer any substance to much of it. Yeah. It's very quick, and a lot of it's really fucking exposition dialogue. They keep explaining shit about the mummy.
Yeah, like, everything is told instead of showing. Yeah. So it's like, hey, we're so lazy... We're just going to go ahead and just go, blah, 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 this is the story, blah, 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 this is the story, hey, this is the story, oh, we went down here and all that stuff. Yeah. It's like, man,
if they would have, that's what I'm saying, because in some of these, there's a couple times where they're explaining things to us that we already fucking know about. I'm like, okay, so we kind of already get that idea in our head, so you don't have to tell us in person. Yeah. But anyway, that was a problem, but also, a lot of it has to do as well with the way that motivations the character themselves are not very like fleshed out very well, because Tom Cruise's character, I had a problem on the writing standpoint, because we're led to believe that he's supposed to be like, okay, like you were telling me earlier, where how he gets chosen to be cursed, right? But the thing that doesn't make sense is when we first see him shoot the thing off to free the tomb, the girl
and the other dude's doing the same thing.
So I'm wondering, why was it just him?
Why was he the only one cursed? Like, everybody else was in there. Why was, like, why was she not after, she could have been after that annoying ass fucking dude. She could have been after the chick. But no, her focus is Tom Cruise because she's, like, in love with him in this movie because it's, like, reminds her of her love from back in the day type shit. Kind of like, again, The Mummy. The Mummy was after Rachel, that girl, that archaeologist, because he reminded him of Oaxaca Moon or whatever her name was, and because his girlfriend and the Pharaoh's girlfriend, and back in that movie. Yeah. So it's the fucking same shit again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So anyways, this movie also has a lot of problems with contradicting itself with the whole, like we were saying earlier, with contradicting itself. Like, Tom Cruise is cursed, but he can't die. She is the one that's going to do the sacrificing. She keeps him alive until then. Next scene, he gets fucking hurt and he's trying to stay alive. Yeah. The contradicting from what previous scene tells you to the next scene, it gets really messy.
Yeah, it does. And a lot of it also has to do with that this movie, too, it has a lot of, like, it just feels like they were trying to rush so much with the way that they're trying to tie this universe together, because when we see the stuff with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, while it is interesting, it feels like it's not executed well, because a lot of it really is just setting up for the next movie that's going to happen. It just feels like this film is the equivalent of starting a Marvel. It'd be like if they started Iron Man out and they just threw in all the stuff with the Avengers right there.
I think this is... Yeah, it's. I think when, like, because you got Marvel and DC going on right now, I think everybody wants to start universes.
They like to rush it so much.
Instead of taking, it's cool to do that, but nobody wants to take their time. They want it now. I already want to be through the story right now. Yeah, and that's the issue with this, man. And I guess the only the pros I got was, I said one earlier, that was the
with the CGI?
Yeah, visually, I like Sophia, but I did like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, played by Russell Crowe. I liked what they're going with him. They do fuck up on the writing standpoint, where they're kind of having him in and out. Like, he's like, hey, there you are, da-da-da-da-da. And then, like, he disappears, and then they're, like, looking for him again. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, he's not wanting him, and then, then he comes at the very end. And that's another fucking con I'm gonna get, is that ending was fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, because basically our ending, not to... Well, this is a spoiler. Basically, it ends where Tom Cruise ends up defeating the mummy by smashing this crystal that's inside, or I'm sorry, it's like a ruby stone or whatever. Yeah. This ruby stone that's inside, he destroys it, and knowing that he's going to be pretty much cursed forever, it ends up destroying her, but he becomes cursed forever and becomes.
And they call him the monster, but he's hinting he's the mummy because the sand follows him. But he didn't look like a fucking mummy. He looked like a goddamn fucking archaeologist at the end. And then he had his friend who should never even survive that. What was his point of, oh, you saved me? He can only save one motherfucker. He saved the girl. Why? Yeah. How the fuck did you come alive? You're dead, dude. Yeah. And he's like, thank you, buddy, for saving me. It was like, that was a weird line. And then it shows like some goddamn fucking popcorn 1999's fucking PG-13's action ending with the fucking theme.
Yeah, and then you have the sandstorm coming.
Sandstorm, now it became a fucking superhero film.
Yeah, so it seems like with this film, they're trying to let us believe that these monsters that they're doing are basically going to become like fucking superheroes. Yeah, where we can basically they're not really going to be villains. They're going to be teaming up together.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it wants to be that. That's how messy so far this universe. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a fucking horrible start. And if this is how it starts and it's building off of this. Yeah, this universe ain't gonna last long.
It probably ain't.
It's not going
to,
man.
If I am going to get to some of my pros that I do have, I did like Tom Cruise in the film. I do feel like... Now, I do agree. The writing standpoint overall for his character sucks. But I do enjoy his performance because he does... What?
Another big con. The fucking dreams.
Okay, yeah. Another thing we didn't talk
I'll
about,
let you
just to
talk
kind of
about
come
that.
back with
That
that.
pissed me off.
This film has probably more dream sequences, more so than fucking Batman vs Superman.
Freddy would get a fucking hard on in this movie, Freddy
Yeah.
Krueger, because he would feel like he's in heaven because he's gonna kill everybody. Because there's so much fucking dream sequences. I thought I was gonna wake the fuck up in the theater, and go, did I just dream I watched that movie that bad?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how much fucking dream sequence. They live off of dream sequences, like 50% of this movie. And, oh my god, dude. And some of it doesn't even make sense to even blend with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, again, well, a lot of those dream sequences kept reminding me of another film called The Cell. Like that scenes where in that film you had Jennifer Lopez like a stand in a fucking desert. That's what it kept reminding me of because it kept cutting back and forth with her in a desert.
And it makes the editing look really bad.
Yeah, so that was pissing me off. And then, yeah, basically to go with my pros, I like Tom Cruise's performance as far as in the action department. I think he works better in that regard because you can still tell that he's still doing a lot of his own stunts and everything, which is cool. Yeah. And he does at least have a likable presence to him in the film. I mean, he is playing a dick, but you can still kind of buy that, like, on his performance that he still is having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, another pro I do like is, of course, I like Russell Crowe as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And plus, one thing I did like, too, was that in this one, Dr. Jekyll has a way to kind of do what Bruce Banner did in the Incredible Hulk film, well, in the Avengers,
to calm
his monster out,
yeah.
where he uses a serum.
There is something I did leave out in my pros. I said some of my pros earlier. One of my other pros I did like, I liked that little preview we get where Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde had all the creatures that
we get to see the little tie-ins with the creature from the Black Lagoon, and I think it even showed Dracula because it shows like a skull with fangs. It might have been Dracula.
And werewolf too.
Yeah, so so that's cool. I like the little tie-ins they do.
Does that mean that they're already dead and this is like the way future?
I think it's probably just hinting like there's other creatures that are not necessarily those, but like the whole fangs thing. I think it might have just been a vampire. They could have just been someone that Dracula turned or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you get to see like the bionic arm of like Creature from the Black Lagoon and stuff. So maybe those films, if they come out, those probably might be prequels or something or whatever. But whatever they're doing with it, it shows that he's collecting these items.
My only issue is because we already had a fucking bad start, horrible start with this fucking dark universe. The next movie, they want to go after a person who didn't even earn itself to be an iconic creature.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Who, no offense, but she's really just she's a co-side
very minor
monster, but they want to go with her as a mainstream next movie. On top, I'm sorry, but I think that's dicing it too bad, especially this horrible Mummy movie.
Yeah,
I don't think they should try to chance that one.
I'm all for the casting.
They need a strong, iconic killer to bring them back.
Yeah,
to get them back to level.
I am all for the casting of the next films that they're bringing out. Like they'll have Dwayne Johnson as the Wolfman. They'll have supposedly they're going to get Johnny Depp for the Invisible Man and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm down for who they cast. It's just that I hope that they at least get a better start with what they're doing, because if anything, what they should do is. And I know it's hard because a lot of people don't like a lot of horror films, but if they kind of went back to that gothic approach and make it more modern times, I think it could probably work better.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't want it to be action, but I think because they've already failed 3 times with action, the whole action standpoint, I think they'll have action, but I think it needs to go to its gothic horror roots.
Yeah. I agree, because if The Wolfman from 2010, while it wasn't a great film, I think it could have probably had potential to do that. You know? So, so with that being said, though, I feel like with this universe that they're setting up, if they can at least probably get the next one and be something better starting it, it'll probably work. But now, and we don't even know if this film's going to do well, because it all depends on how it does the box office.
I'm going to tell you now, I've not seen a lot of people is not seeing this movie. A lot of people I shockingly are saying they want to wait a while to see this. That means the box office isn't going to be very good. So that's why and then with the horrible reviews it's getting, I don't really think this is going to last. They'll try one more, and then if that fails, they won't do it. But the bad thing is, out of all of them, they want to go with Miss Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, the one who's never really earned her iconic to be her own thing. I'm not saying I don't want her to do a movie. I think she should do a movie down the road, but I think because of how bad The Mummy did, they need a strong, iconic monster to bring it back on track.
Yeah. At least do regular Frankenstein.
Well, no, I think a Wolfman or fucking Dracula is going to need to bring this back in order.
I agree.
It's going to have to be somebody strong like that, man.
Yeah, I mean... but yeah, overall though, this movie was pretty bad. Now, is it probably going to be on my worst of list? Maybe. If it is, it's probably going to be a little lower than some of the other ones I've seen this year. But it is still pretty bad.
Yeah, it's probably it could be on my top 10, like as in my number 10. But it has a high chance of making my nominee.
Yeah, because if there's other bad films that come out this year that are probably worse, it'll probably be more so than this one.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I'm going to give this film pretty much a 3.5 out of 10.
I'm going to give The Mummy a 4 out of 10.
Fair enough. Well, for those of you who have also seen The Mummy, what did you guys think of it? Comment below, and if you like what you see here, you can check out more of our reviews here, and we'll be seeing you in our next one. We'll see you later.
Later.